here in a second. Basically, it's starting live right now here in a second, and then I'm going to hop on and mute the YouTube audio here in just a second.
Let us know when you're done, Matt, and then we'll go through and do a round robin introduction and explain who each person is in the group for people that are watching.
All right, we're officially live. I've got the YouTube side muted, and so hopefully everybody got a link you guys can share out when you get a hot second.
I have not got a link yet, Matt.
No, I didn't either.
All right, it'll come.
Is it in the chat or is it in email? The link.
It depends. Are you subscribed with all notifications?
Email subscription, Facebook. What kind of subscribe are we talking about?
Are you subscribed to Prepared Patriot NC on YouTube, my man?
Yeah.
All right. Did you toggle your notifications?
I'm not in YouTube right now, so that's what you're talking. I'm just trying to figure out which link you're looking for. Okay.
So typically, yes, Brian, whenever we hit the video live, it'll send out the little banner on your phone or whatever telling you which. Yeah, I get right. It should do that. Yeah, we haven't got that. That's what we're talking about. Is that little link? I didn't know if you're a Facebook notification or YouTube or email. Okay, well, I haven't gotten it yet either. I haven't got it yet either. So
we do have Richard already hooked up with us on YouTube's here. Richard, we're trying something new. We're trying to Zoom this. Can you see all five of us?
Oh yeah, we're cooking with grease. Everybody got all quiet sharing links.
Well, yeah. I'm hearing a lot of feedback too. I don't know what that was. Somebody had a car running through their house or something.
It's Rev's fault. He lives in the city.
Is that what it is, Rev?
Here, I'll mute.
No, it wasn't you.
No,
it wasn't you.
I should be pretty locked down. I've got it's part of the headphones thing. I'm trying to keep. There is noise. I mean, you'll hear a train. You'll hear you'll hear a helicopter over. The black helicopter checking on me and all that stuff.
Black helicopter. Why would somebody be in a black helicopter be checking on Rev?
You haven't been watching the news, have you?
Not recently. What'd you do,
man? Not me. I'm just.
I'm
on all the lists, brother.
The new thing are the drones, man. There was one flying by over this past week, and I mean, you couldn't hear it, but I just happened to be in the right place at the right time in the backyard, and it was making circles out going toward Taylorsville.
Yeah, we got Scott Wexler. Why would somebody in a black helicopter be checking on Rev?
All right. I just got it pulled up finally.
Yeah. So
just got it pulled up.
Mute the
I did
the YouTube side, and then we'll go ahead and get started and do our formal introductions. Everybody ready?
All right. Yep. So I got it pulled up. Everything looks good. I was not able to share it. So if you're watching this, guys, and you can, go ahead and share that out so that everyone can get a link to the video. Because for some reason, YouTube is having a hard time producing the link for us tonight. I don't know what it is. Why don't we go ahead and start with introductions with the main group? Everybody is aware I'm Eagle 1. Patrick, I am one of the instructors for Prepared Patriot. If you're just new to us watching, obviously a lot of you guys are longtime followers, so you don't need the introduction with us. But we're going to go ahead and go through just in case people are new to this and don't know who it is. So I'm Patrick. Next, we'll go through the other two main instructors that y'all probably are already familiar with. Matt, why don't you tell them introduction real quick?
Sure. I'm affectionately known as Eagle 2. And I guess czar of Chief of Logistics, otherwise known as CF Matto, CFO, and almost all things social media.
Okay.
So then we got old Jerry Gage. Go ahead, Jerry.
Yep, that's me. I'm number 3 in the crowd, and but hopefully this Zoom lets me be more involved with the live, because it's a heck of a drive up there to Casa Mountain.
Yeah. Parts
Patriot
unknown.
Farm. Patriot Farm is a long way away.
It is.
And then we got old Doc Ron Bivey. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hey, my name's Ronald. I'm the Chief Medical Officer. Fairly new to the group, but in great expectations to be able to help bring something to the group to help everybody that wants to participate in the classes. Plug in the Prepper Med class coming up in July, which I'm sure Matt will talk about later on.
Yeah, July 24th. Rock and roll. So, and last but not least, we have our distinguished guest tonight. We got Brian Norris.
What's up, guys?
He's a
Brother
fellow,
Rev.
Yep. Rev to the limit.
How's it going, fellas?
Got Reverend Brian Norris of East City Church down in Charlotte, but he's also fellow tactical response alumni, well-trained individual, and he brings some awesome perspective to various conversations. So,
Yeah, if I can shout out a gun writer for Ammo Land.
Yeah.
And, the Arms Guy and a couple other places. So if you don't mind checking those things out, you can find articles there. So
has its own your own YouTube channel as well.
Yeah. There's hardly anybody watching it, but yeah, it does exist. You can.
Hey man, you got 1,000 more subscribers than we do.
That's not about that.
So, but yeah. So real quickly, we'll kind of get the formalities out of the way. Usually, we open up with our class dates that are upcoming. So this weekend, if anybody's in the Western North Carolina area, Eastern Tennessee, Virginia, South Carolina, you want to come up for training, it's never too late. We got Prepared Rifle 1 coming up this Saturday, April 10th. We've got our version of concealed carry. I guess we've modified the name a little bit. It used to be comprehensive carry, but now it's comprehensive concealed carry. We want to kind of distinguish that everybody knows that it's a concealed carry class. Our version, the best version in the area. And so that is coming up Sunday, April 11th. And so then we'll transition to May. We have a Prepared Pistol 3 class, May 15th coming up. And that is for anybody who's taken our Prepared Pistol 1 class. You don't have to have had Prepared Pistol 2. You can, they're kind of interchangeable at this point in time. Totally different skill sets. So we kind of made them, not necessary to be sequential. So, and then that's coming up May 15th. And then let's see. After that, we do have a Prepared Pistol 1 class coming up June 12th. That's kind of our first level, more advanced class. We do a lot of great information in that class, anything from the mindset of carrying a gun that you need to possess, being a warrior. And then we really kind of move into the range time after that. So that's kind of the base. And then we have another comprehensive carry class, comprehensive concealed carry, June 13th. And enough of me. So let's everybody ready to rock and roll with tonight's topic?
For sure.
Cool. So Rev, go ahead and introduce tonight's topic, man. It was your idea.
Okay, sure. What do you which one? Are we talking about the Chinese thing?
Yep. Chinese knockoffs impacting the U.S. market.
Yeah, I was having a conversation with Mike. Mike is the VP at Law Tactical. The folded, if you know it's interesting in the news today. The folder that many people use on their AR. I'm sorry, guys. I'm losing the Zoom. Am I still here with you?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Apologize. But anyway, he was just commiserating about the hard work that they went in to develop this product. They're 3 generations into this product. And he kind of echoed something that I've heard from a lot of other manufacturers, how frequently they're getting not only their products knocked off that are patented, but all of the people that are doing reviews, you know, YouTubers and article writers and all these people, you'll see images in your Facebook ads of their product on all these cheap overseas knockoffs. So something that's made out of, that's supposed to be made out of steel is made out of aluminum and therefore dangerous, is marketed for, you know, $40. And not only is an inferior product with their design being marketed to us in all the social channels, but they're actually having the audacity to take, you know, people's videos and images and things of their product and just kind of, you know, using Photoshop and editing software to appear as though that's their product running, like a, you know, $40 product running like a $300 product or whatever. So, you know, it's not just lawful, or there's hundreds and hundreds. I just keep hearing the same story of patented items being stolen overseas, but the gun community kind of, you know, we're all trying to save a buck, and sometimes unknowingly, unwittingly, we're supporting some of our brothers losing not only business but livelihood. And so it's kind of an interesting conversation from my perspective. Did I make it clear as mud?
Yeah,
Sure.
I think you're absolutely right, and we all do. We want the best product at the cheapest price,
Right.
but sometimes we're inadvertently supporting that type of behavior by buying a product that is a knockoff.
Sure. Well, in this case, I mean, it's dangerous, you know,
Right.
If you use the wrong metals, it's, I mean, you're somebody's going to hurt their eye. I mean, it's not only hurting their business, which, you know, they're doing fine. They've got military contracts and they're going to continue to do well because their product works, but that still impacts them. You know, so, and it's dangerous to the consumer as well.
I think there is something to be said about competition as
For
well,
sure.
though. So Matt and I were discussing this topic earlier today about how, and I kind of went on a different direction with this. As a prepper, you know, sometimes you're not buying one of something.
Sure.
You know, you may be buying 6 or 8, or if you're trying to outfit like a company rental program or something like that, you could have a whole bunch that you need to outfit.
For
so
sure.
there is a nice thing about having competition. Just recently, I picked up a knockoff basically of the, what is that company that I'll recommend? Matt, help me out. What's the name of that company that we use for the chest rigs? Blue Force Gear.
Yeah.
Right. So Blue Force Gear, great company, great gear. We love their stuff. We highly recommend it. But I found a Chinese knockoff of it, and we have to remember here, it's elastic. It's all disposable, in my opinion. Like, it's stuff that we use that makes it universal for class. You know, you can pick up the one from Blue Force Gear for $50, or you can pick up the knockoff for $20 and be able to put it on 10 extra people. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's really,
but was that
two sides to that story.
Was that a patented item?
No, I don't think so.
So it's not, there's not intellectual property there. And look, I'm all for competition. If somebody, if somebody, there's another American product that does a similar thing. But it's its own design, you know, in this space. And even if there was a Chinese product that did its own thing with their own design, but I'm all for it. You know, competition is fine, especially if it does it well. May the best guy win or the best company win. But
so what I was saying
to do that.
What I was saying, Rev, in my mind, I went a different direction with this earlier versus where you kind of put this today. You know, I was spinning in a whole different mindset when Matt and I were discussing the topic earlier today. I was like, you know, sometimes it can be not a bad thing. You know, sometimes I'll give you an example. There's a lot of companies that we know that you buy their product thinking it's American. However, it is very Chinese, assembled in America.
That's right.
You know,
no, I want to save a buck too, brother, for sure.
Yeah. So there's a bunch of them that have, you know, stuff that they're calling American that isn't really American. And then there's some of those companies like, say, Surefire, that really is trying to be as American as they can be. Great quality product. I highly recommend it. But then, you know, me and Matt were discussing this earlier. You know, I kind of understand when you're first getting into this, we almost beat up the community sometimes, or the culture, because we beat them with this, you know, you have to have XYZ product.
100% agree.
And it's like, man, come on, let them. I know that they don't want to spend this extra money, and yeah, they're probably going to buy something else in a little bit, but I've learned to back off of that a little bit, just because like it can really turn people away when they don't want to hear that. Listen, you bought a shit light, you probably shouldn't be using that on your gun.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But
yeah,
I don't want to turn the community or the culture away either. I want those guys to get out there and find out, you know, hey, listen, this guy's trying to help us save money in the long run without, you know, being just a jerk. And it's really easy to turn into I see it very often turn into kind of the Gucci gear thing, you know, where everybody wants the Gucci thing just to say they're Gucci and that they have the best of the best. And in reality, we all know that sometimes it's better to have the $600 worth of training in the cheap shit. You know, you're still way more effective with the cheap gun or the cheaper stuff that you've bought if you have some training with it than you would be with the Gucci gun and zero training.
Yeah, no, I 100% don't want to project an elitist perspective. In fact, here's a good example. I was in the UPS store earlier this week, and the guy that does all my shipping, he had a Kershaw knife with the Emerson design. You know, I love an Emerson knife that's whatever, $300. But you know, that Kershaw that's Chinese made, that they bought the rights from Emerson to make that wave feature on their whatever $20, $30 knife. Look, when I'm going to buy my team pocket knives for a Christmas present, I can't buy them all Emersons, but I think it's cool. So I buy them all these Kershaws, and they're good knives. You know, it's not junk. I mean, it should be accessible.
Agreed.
I'm not trying to, you know, make it unattainable for anybody else. No.
So that was where my brain went with this whenever we were discussing it earlier today. Matt and I had talked briefly about it on the phone today whenever we were discussing the live stream tonight. And, you know, I'm 100% like, I want to preface all this by saying I'm playing the devil's advocate, right? Because I'm 100% behind. Buy from the American company if you can afford it. You know, buy the best stuff once, because I'm too poor to buy it twice, right? Like I can't afford to buy 10 or 12 lights to replace, you know, the one that I should have bought the first time. So, I mean, I get all of that, and I'm 100% on board of like, you should not steal intellectual property, especially something that is dangerous like the law of folder. Holy crap. Like that becomes a potential problem. So I would like to keep on that topic for a minute, but let's branch off a little bit and talk about that. Cause I think this is something that the gun culture, and I mean culture, like our guys, our people, the ones that we really look up to, that we're all family, we all love each other. But sometimes I think we get so caught up in like, this is the only thing, that you forget to take this person under your wing and say, hey man, we love you. Come train with us. You'll learn the way. Just bring what you got right now and come do what you can do with what you got. We can get you there, you know?
Yeah. I practice trying to say something nice about everybody's gear that I possibly can. I'm not going to lie to somebody, but like if somebody's got a gun they're trying to show me and they're all excited about it, I'm not going to be like, why'd you get that piece of crap? That would turn me off.
Listen, I'm guilty. Like I am very guilty of that. Like I can't lie. You know, I am the one that sometimes can be like, God, that's a piece of crap. You know,
well,
like,
if it is and it's not going to work, fine. You know, but like, you know, hey, I'm with you 100%. There's an interesting thing though. There are areas where we've all learned that buy once, cry once is a really valid philosophy, and then there are other areas where you can like cheat a little bit. You know, and it's really like, it's not going to make a huge difference. You know, there might be a $50 tourniquet and a $20 tourniquet, and they're both going to work really, really well. depending upon what you're trying to use it for. And this even cheaper one might be great because of its portability, you know, like
and because you can give it to 3 people now for about the same price. So and now we have 3 people that are ready to save lives.
And you need one in every car and probably more than one. And, you know, like, and you need one in every bag and in your desk and, you know, every nook and it's just like, we start to add that stuff up, man. Like, I don't know where you guys are rolling, but like, the ministry ain't paying like that.
Well, you know, there's a fine line there. You want to make an investment, like E1 says, into something. You don't have to keep replacing it. Something that has to be durable. Something that's going to have to work for you. If you skin it, you want it to work and you want it to go bang. Yeah. Whatever your gear is, you know, it's got to work. And there are other times that, like you said, that you can maybe skimp a little on, you know, the clothes or the boots or, you know, whatever. But, you know, the important items, the things that you're going to EDC, you need to make sure that they're going to work for you when you need them, because needing them and not working for them at the time of need, and E1 can attest to that, it's not the time to figure out that it's not going to work.
Yeah.
Nope.
We got some comments rolling in, guys. Jason Rapport says, so my wish silencer in my law folder is bad, question mark. And then he says, fake cats will kill you, but recon is good to go.
Hey, Cheddar Bob, this is for you, brother. I'm drinking for you. In fact, I've got 5 of them here just in case you showed up. So this is what you turned me on to, and now I'm addicted. So it's your fault, brother. Thank you very much.
Tell everybody what it is there, Rev.
It's a pineapple. We're sponsored tonight by Pineapple Monster Ultra Gold. Yeah.
I wish we were.
It's coming, Matt.
Okay.
You're a big deal, man. We're putting it out there, like in Jesus' name, amen.
Wexler says cats are good too, but at half the price, I generally buy recons.
Yeah.
So, and if Rapport doesn't get, I was gonna say, if Rapport doesn't get right back to us, he's let's see, he said something about working in his freeze room, mixing it back.
I like everything about recon except for the guys they let market for them.
Oh,
I'm just kidding.
Poor Kevin. Come on, man. He's not even here to defend himself.
Oh, he's not on here. Oh, see, that's his fault, though. He should be here.
He should. He's coming to class. He's coming to class on Saturday. But he's generally not very involved on the Facebooks and YouTubes. I don't know.
That's probably better.
I thought that he was the social media marketer.
Yeah. I mean, with us. He's too busy doing his own thing.
Yeah. He does social media for Recon and another company called Extant Labs, and he's starting some of his own stuff on the instructor side. So
those people at Extant Labs, those are good people.
Yeah. So let's see, we've got Scott Wexler says those gold monsters are fantastic.
They're like crack, brother.
Yep.
Not that that's fantastic, but you know.
And back a few comments ago, Wexler said his first Emerson was a Kershaw. Was seeing if I liked the wave.
Yeah, come on. Listen, it's scary when you lose one of those.
So I'm interested to see, because this is a little bit of a diverse group tonight. Normally, you know, with Matt, Jerry, and I, we kind of echo each other quite a bit. But, you know, Rev, you have your own opinion. You write for other, you know, for a magazine. You see lots of stuff. What are some of the things that you think people should not cheap out on? That they should try to buy the better American-made quality stuff that is life support, so to speak, the things that are super important.
I'm trying to think some of the ones that I see, like,
and then also I want to hear Ron chime in on that as well, because Ron just joined us recently and he's kind of had some training at some other places, but I'd like to hear what he thinks as well.
Well, Ron, I've been rambling on, so why don't you jump in first, brother?
You know, like I said, I made an instance to, you know, people are going, they're looking for the, you know, case in point to buy a sidearm, and they're, you know, nowadays, let's face it, the market is totally a dealer's market. You know, people are going in, they're finding something that's within their price range and they're dropping money on it, and they're saying, hey, I want that one, let's go. Hey, I'm armed. But they may not be the safest firearms out there. You know, a lot of these things that people are walking around with that, they're not coming to class and getting the appropriate training. They're not seeing Jerry the first class and figure out how I need to carry this sidearm appropriately and to be safe. If you need to skin it and it doesn't go off when you pull the trigger, then that's not the time to figure out that, hey, I saved $100 on a firearm.
Ron, we want to know about medical gear.
Okay, medical gear.
Question about what medical gear not to skimp on, man. Come on.
All right, case in point. E1, he'll echo it. Recon. We applied 2 of those tourniquets. I won't use the name of the other tourniquet, but he knows who it was and which one was the best one. E1.
We will definitely go with Recon for as final answer, sir.
That's it. And the thing about Recon, and I don't know that most people may or may not know this, I'll just kind of key you in. If you use a Recon tourniquet, all you have to do is contact them and say, hey, I put this on a patient, or, hey, I used it on myself or something like that. And they will send you a replacement. No charge. And I don't know too many companies out there that give you durable medical goods. And if you use it and you call them on the phone and say, hey, I used it, and they'll send you a free one. So I'll just plug those guys a little bit there.
Well, I will go even a step farther than that, Ron. There's not many tourniquets that I would say you could take off and they're still good to go. I would say that Recon is probably still good to go, just like it is. Like you could clean it up, run it again if you had to. Now, obviously, I'm not recommending that. If you can get a new one, go ahead and do the new thing, right? Replace that. Let's not be cheapskates. But I would not be afraid at all to use the one I have as a trainer.
I agree. And the other thing, while we're on that, the way that those things are designed and the components of those things, Recon has had a couple of design changes, and they've upgraded, and now they're using belted aluminums in place of the plastic buckles and the plastic windlass system. And I've had hands on some that, hey, they look like great tourniquets, and then you start taking them apart and you start working them and you start feeling the windlass and you start feeling the components of the buckle, and you're like, wow, man, this may be cheap right now. It might be a $10 tourniquet, but if I have it on my gear and I'm dragging it through the mud and I'm practicing with it off and on, there are inherent weaknesses in those plastic components compared to the ones at Recon, which are aluminum. Like I said, if you think that you're going to have to depend upon it to save your life, either medical, firearm, ammunition, knives, whatever, those aren't the ones that the points to start, cutting corners on. And obviously I'm going to get on the soapbox. Obviously the education, and I hear this a lot. I was like, man, your concealed carry class, it's the same one as the state. No, it's not. It's an enhanced class, and Jerry does a super job disseminating the information that the state requires. But Jerry also goes above and beyond, disseminating the additional information that you're not going to get in those classes. You're not going to learn how to extract a firearm from the holster and utilize the firearm, make it safe, and put it away in those other classes. You're not going to be able to go through and get the one-on-one education that Jerry's going to apply with that. So, okay, do I pay $50 and take the regular, requirements for the state to get a concealed carry class, or do I pay a little more and come to the Prepared Patriot class and obviously walk away a safer, a more informed, a better practitioner from the initial class? So, that's kind of my end. If it's worth it, and if it's worth more, and your life's going to depend upon it, and Jerry's the best instructor that I've seen in the comp carry class. And if you take a standard person going to the regular class, and you take a standard person going to Jerry's class, there's no question who's going to come out is going to be more comfortable and more dangerous, as I guess E2 says.
So we got some new guests, Tilden Fafford's in the house.
Hey, Tilden.
Casey Loftus says, I had some TCC tourniquets made by a company that makes good splints they don't work consistently. Recon has been great.
Well, I think the funny thing, Matt, going back to Ronald's comment, the funny thing about Recon is I consider them the best, and they're also one of the cheapest, which makes them a dual bang for your buck, man. Like, you get the best you can get for, like, I don't know how they make them for $20 is what I'm getting at. Like, they can't be making a whole lot of money on them because they're just such high quality for what you're getting. I mean, you should be ordering them by the 10-pack is the way I look at it.
When they come in that nice Gucci looking box too.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Looks like it's like Louis Vuitton for
Louis Vuitton
for badasses. Casey Loftus says Sam Tourniquet I have has an auto locking thing that will lock too early, then the windlass won't get tight enough.
Right.
So anyway, and Jason says laugh my off. Everyone starts somewhere. When I first started carrying, I carried a Glock 22C with an extendo as a backup. Now I have training and I know better.
Yeah.
So Brian, let's hear your answer on that question.
Sure.
I'll be right back.
I just want to echo Ronald that I just sent somebody to y'all's comprehensive carry today, and I keep doing that. But that kind of dovetails into my perspective on this particular issue. I have occasion to be a lot of people's, I guess, gun guy. So when they're getting started, they'll often ask me where to get started. And you know how that is. Lots of times, it doesn't really matter what you say. They're going to do what they're going to do, And so you kind of learn to just kind of, some people are super forceful with it. And if I have the ability, I am very directive, but sometimes I just let somebody get started. I give them good advice, and then, then know that they're going to circle back and we're going to revisit that good advice later on. But I was trying to think about, maybe earlier on, the beginning of that kind of path, where some of the mistakes I see as far as people not spending what they ought to spend. And I think the most common ones I see are in the area of magazines, people buying cheap mags.
I would say holsters.
And then holsters, mags, belts. Sometimes you don't have to spend a ton of money to get a gun, but there are some people that are getting started and they have a conception of what expensive is. That's pretty, it's a relative thing. So somebody might think, if why get a $500 gun when I can get a Jennings for, $150 or $200, and a gun's a gun. They kind of think, well, this is a small gun and I just want one. Most people start with, I'm going to get one gun. And so I see that happen sometimes where they're just like, well, I'm probably never going to need this. So I'm just going to have this as a just in case kind of thing. And so it doesn't need to be what they consider fancy. And so I try to get them, really, there are a lot of guns right now that are on the relatively inexpensive side, not in our current environment, but they're relatively inexpensive in the whole, and they're more reliable than some of the much more expensive guns. So you don't have to get some kind of, 2011 super duper custom whatever to, you'll hear this comment that kind of drives me nuts. What's your life worth? When somebody says they're not going to spend, $3,000 on a gun, somebody's like, well, what's your life worth? And that seems like a crazy tactic from my perspective. I'd rather them have something reliable that they can afford and they will buy than think that it's unattainable. And so they're not going to get anything at all, and the reality is we want them to arm their whole family, and we don't want to do that in a deficient way, but that's going to be costly. And, a lot of people are living on a budget. I mean, probably all of us in some way are living on a budget. So, it's not like we just have as much money as this can be an expensive thing. I think I don't mean to ramble on, but I think a lot of people, if they knew what we have, would think that we're kind of excessive and crazy. And then some of our other friends think we're just barely getting started. You know,
that's exactly right on, Brian. Like, that's the point that I try to make to other people is it's like everyone's at a different place on this path. And you hit it right on the head there when you're talking about, like, to some people we're excessive, to others we're not in it deep enough. You know, it's like in the gun culture, that span is so great. I feel like we need to narrow the gap down for these people a little bit and be like, you know, what is the bare necessities that you really should have trying to defend your life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness?
Yeah. And maybe just what's the next step? Because if you try to, like, say, here's everything you're going to have to do, they're not ever going to get started. So what's the first thing to do? What's the second thing to do? And I think, like, what's the next measurable thing that they can accomplish is a much more efficient way to actually get somebody moving forward.
Well, I think human nature, and we're all guilty of this. When we first started out, what did we do? We went out and bought this, and we went out and bought that, and we went out and bought that. But we didn't buy any training.
Yeah.
Right.
No.
You know,
we only got that. My grandpa showed me how to shoot. I grew up shooting, you know.
Yeah. And we see that, you know, way too often. And we all admit we were the same way. Mm-hmm. But it's getting them from that point into the point where, hey, this is what's important. I need to know some medical. I need to, you know, work on my tactics. I need to work on my skill, and get all that squared away before I worry about gear.
Right.
Get what's functional and make it work for you.
Well, I mean, you can most times, most situations, you can take a bad weapon and make it work efficiently. I mean, you know, if you know how to operate that system and clear it and get it back online. But like you said, if you're not coming to class and you're not learning how to do those things and you've got a bad weapon, and, you know, most people are just going to say, oh, well, here, I'll just throw it at you.
Sure. Yeah.
And so and that's why I was plugging on the training end of it. You know, I always hear, oh man, it's an expensive class. I'm like, well, yeah, but you're learning life lessons that can get you out of a situation before a situation ever escalates out of control.
Yeah.
You're learning how to remove yourself from that environment. And heaven forbid, if it comes down to it and you've got to get dangerous, you're going to know how to respond and you're going to know how to react better than the person who's not come to class, who's not been training, who's not been practicing out there. You know, I had an instructor once tell me, you know, while you guys are coming to class, you're pounding out, you're driving rounds down range, you know, you're working on smoothing out your technique, you're getting over the hiccups. And I can pretty much guarantee you that the bad guys are not coming to training. So, you know, even coming to the basic classes, coming to Pistol 1, Pistol 2, and then up into Pistol 3, you're obviously going to be better trained than, you know, the local yahoo who, you know, thinks he's carrying a gun and now he's going to try to use it on you for nefarious situations. So training is going to be your best ally, I think.
Yeah. Ronald, not to disagree, but the flip side of that is real life experience, reps, which lots of criminals have, is very different than what the average law-abiding citizen has. Right. And yeah, you can make a firearm that's unreliable work, but listen, it's hard when adrenaline dumps to make the most reliable firearm work in a tough situation. I mean, you'll see guys. I've been guys, you know, trying to get a gun out, catching on a shirt that you've practiced clearing a garment 100 times, and you're like so jumping out of your skin. You know, you
man, brother.
You know, so you want everything, all the cards stacked in your favor. You want to buy yourself some time. You want to. It's the same reason why we put locks on our door. I mean, I'm with you, but I'm just saying, like, one of my favorite writers was this guy. All his books are the same. His name is Louis L'Amour. You guys ever read any Western books by Louis L'Amour? I used to listen to him. My dad would let me get the audiobooks from the Flying J when we'd go on road trips. And then I started reading them as I got older. Louis L'Amour was fond of saying that one thing about a criminal is he believed everything was going to go in his favor every time. He didn't have contingency plans about the person that was willing to push risk to that kind of limit. And I thought about that. I don't want to be on the flip side of that, kind of assuming that whoever I might encounter is going to be less trained than me. I want to assume that they're going to be more trained than me, because I'm not trying to argue at all, but like I know some criminals, and some of those guys would be bad to mess with, especially the ones that are still out there. There's a reason why they haven't been caught. And you know, it's not fun and games.
I'm going to agree with what you're saying there, Brian. I think it's always in your best interest to assume the guy that you're fighting is better than you.
Yeah.
You will never regret that line of thinking. You could live or not live to regret the other line of thinking. Yeah. And that's one thing I really enjoy about training with other companies as well and other places. You know, you get to train with people who are well trained. You know, you're not going up against people who are scumbag Joe Blow who just picked this gun up the first time. You're going up against very competent gun handlers that if you can do half decent with them, it does build your confidence. But you also know that if things turn south and maybe the person that you're fighting is in better trained position or is a better fighter than you, that you can at least make good decisions against a very formidable opponent, you know.
Yeah.
Because we always assume, right, that the bad guy is going to be Joe Bad Guy at the street trying to knock your door down, you know, or take your money at the ATM or whatever it may be.
Shout out to the fight.
Ain't going
No
to
ATMs.
No ATMs.
But, you know, in reality, it very well not be that case at all, especially in the society that we live in today. It very well may be that the person you're facing is not who you expected it to be at all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, brother. I had a little managing unknown contacts event happened at Lowe's today. So.
What'd you do, Matt? You got to tell the story now. You got to tell the story.
As soon as you started talking to me, man, the first thing that stopped me, basically somebody hit me up for money as I was walking into Lowe's, asked me if I had change. But as soon as he opened his mouth, I found myself like arcing around him, and up came my hands in front of me like this. And he basically asked me if I had any change. I said, no, man, I don't have any. And I just kept walking.
Yeah.
So now let's get into that, because I think that's a perfect segue to something we talked about with Brian. So there is a part of this, right, where most of us in the training industry, most of us in this kind of aspect are really actually good people, right? Like we're really the people that want to help others. We're, you know, Rev there is a Christian who is the, you know, a leader of a flock, so to speak. Like most of us want to be, you know, good people. We want to help others. That's the thing, is that's the natural instinct, right? So I think it would be interesting to get Rev's perspective. And this was not in order by no means, but it was just a good segue into it, on being a Christian in the gun culture, because I think it is hard as a Christian to justify how, you know, you get a lot of negative connotations that come in the gun culture just for the reason of it being what it is. But I think it's something I'd like to hear your opinion on, and I'm sure that our viewers would like to hear as well. Rev, what can you talk to them as, you know, you being he's called Rev for a reason. So him being a reverend, can you tell us a little bit of your opinion on how being a Christian can affect or impact the gun culture, or help the gun culture, or what are your challenges even in the gun culture?
Yeah, well, so Matt just talked about maybe a good starting place with he had what could be a negative encounter that he's practicing mindset, and so he's had training that's talking about, hey, red flags are going up, alert whistles are going in his ear. Some guys that are walking around with this mindset that we're fostering to protect the families of those that we love. I mean, the lives of those that we love, and protect our own lives because we need to provide for our families, etc. sometimes those guys, especially when you're getting started, can put off this unapproachable disposition. Like, and I know approachable might be a word that everybody's like, yeah, I mean, I don't want to be approachable because I don't want to be approached and I don't want to, you know, I get that. But I kind of think like neighborliness, when we're talking about the flip side of building our communities, which is really important when you're talking about when things go bad, you need to know the people around you and you need to have a community of people that are far beyond kind of surface relationships. I mean, I pray that's what we're developing right now. You know, that's why we're spending time together, because we want to be mutually beneficial to one another. And so that same neighborliness, the good neighbor principle that Jesus taught, doesn't have to be naive, right? And in fact, he also taught to be wise as a serpent and as harmless as a dove, right? And that's a whole deep thing. We don't need to get into it right now, but I think you can absolutely make eye contact with somebody and let them know that you see them first, and do that in a respectful and, hey, how's it going kind of neighborly way that is disarming. If somebody knows that you see them, you are not a soft target, you know, and so you can project a warmth to the people that you're around without being a blanket that is ready for attack, you know, and there's a balance there. I like how John Lovell calls it a warrior and a poet, right? Like he's talking about, you know, both sides of things. And so I think that in that small encounter, I mean, there's a broader conversation here, but in a small, I don't know. I know this is a different training company, but you've already referenced tactical response. So I feel the liberty to go there. I think maybe James Yeager pays people after people take the fight to go approach us afterwards. As soon as I hit Charlotte coming back from that thing, so I was off South Boulevard, and so I'm walking up to Target, and some big old guy comes up to me panhandling, which is super usual, but this guy got like aggressive and started like coming after me because I was just saying, hey, I don't have anything today, you know. That kind of like, he got real flamboyant and out loud, and he's shouting at me, and so it was crazy, man. Like I think you're already on alert, and that situation went fine. I just kept it moving and made some clear comments to him that were, I think, respectful, but they were firm. And I just treated him like I would want to be treated. But I also made very clear that he wasn't going to treat me how I don't want to be treated, you know, and I think that's okay. So anyway, I know that's not getting into the whole thing of, there's probably a big ethical conversation. In fact, sometime I'd love to, and I'm thinking about maybe even developing a talk specifically on the ethics of why it's necessary to be willing to take life to preserve life, based upon a number of Jesus' teachings. I'm also thinking about talking about how important it is for those of us that are preparing to preserve life, have a respect for fear, but have lost our our respect for death, but have lost our fear of death. And I think Jesus' teachings in the gospel uniquely equip somebody to be prepared to die in the appropriate situations, not to try to die, but to be ready to die. And so I think there are a number of things that will actually make us willing to go farther than the average person and help us be more useful to our communities. But that's kind of a deep conversation. I don't know if you want to get into all that. I feel like I've already talked a lot.
Well, you are the guest tonight, Brian. So we're not upset.
You mean I don't get to come back? This is like a one-time thing. I got to say it all right now.
No. We can save it for another day. Absolutely.
And if there's anything you want me to talk more about, I'll talk about it. You know, what about that are you interested in?
I do actually want to go back to your first question.
Sure.
That's something.
The Chinese,
and you were talking about the knockoffs and all that. the biggest issue, and we know there's knockoffs and there's good competition. We've talked that through. But what I see as one of the bigger issues is the technology. Mm-hmm. It's so hard to police them taking images and their software where they can make it look like it's their material and whatnot, to put stuff out there in their advertising like that.
Yeah.
You know, and we know anybody that's on, you know, like Facebook or something like that, if you start talking about something, then pull up your Facebook, you're going to see an ad for it.
Yeah. How bad do you feel when it's your video and is that's on Facebook that is selling this thing that's dangerous,
right?
And looks like you're shilling for a company when somebody that you love and respect is if it looks like is having their intellectual property stolen. I mean, there's lots of guys that we know that their videos are all over the place, like being taken. I mean, that's their stuff they wrote, stuff they videoed, stuff they shot that's now being used to hurt people that they were working with. You know, there's a lot of layers to it.
It's almost like even if they copyright it, that's kind of like a restraining order. It's just a piece of paper.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm not as upset at, I'm upset at social media right now for a number of reasons. Like this is what's being like, Facebook's fine with illegal activity happening on it. Facebook's fine to sell that ad when they're made aware of the fact that this is intellectual property being taken. They're made aware of the fact that this is, and then these are videos of gun stuff when you and I can't put very much gun information out there for free, but they're willing to sell the ad. Like it's ridiculous the number of double standards that are taking place here. So I just think it's intriguing to say the least. But honestly, guys, if I had known what was going to happen this afternoon, I think I'd have shot Matt a different topic. I mean, I'm not trying to talk politics with you, but I'm about to see red right now. I don't know about the rest of you guys.
Yeah, we've been trying to avoid that conversation.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm not
mainly because we want to see what happens. I know there's already a couple of lawsuits being filed between Gun Owners of America and another couple of groups, but I'm trying not to panic at the moment and get super pissed off, because I'm hoping that we can do the same thing, the same tactic that the Democrats did in the last 4 years previous, where they tied everything up into the Supreme Court to where it never really affected anyone or did any real damage. I think we could almost use their tactic against them at this point, and maybe win this battle, but we shall see. We're trying not to dive too deep into politics, because that gets really ugly really quick.
Sure.
We are all in agreement there. There's no need.
I don't even see this one as political, but yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
No,
it's very much an overreach. It's very much like, but we've been preaching this, Rev, for a long time. Like, we've been telling people in our group, like, listen, it's coming. You need to prepare. You need to get ready. You need to, like, they're making giant steps to get to the point where they can do what they want to do. They being whoever you want to imagine is working against good and evil, right? I don't even look at it as politics anymore. It's very much a fight against good and evil at this point. Mm-hmm. You have people that are all for, child pornography. They're all for human trafficking. They're all for taking your rights and your guns away, even though that there's probably not one instance of a law folder or a SB tactical brace or any of these silly things being in any major crimes. But they're going to take whatever they can from you as a civilian, because they don't want you to be able to defend yourself. The first thing they do for all people that they want to suppress is to take away the rights. So
yeah. Well, I don't want to push you any place that you guys don't want to go, but sometime offline, I'd love to talk to you specifically about the component of the friends and family and mental health and suicide. There's a lot of overlap there with things that I see on a regular basis that I'd love to talk to you guys about just whenever we get a chance to hang out.
Yeah, man. Well, we're going to be down next weekend, right? All of our alumni that are watching, if you're an alumnus of our class, we're having to meet it's next weekend.
17th.
Next weekend, we're going to be down at Brian's doing a little get together with all you guys, all you crazy folks that are out there watching. So hopefully we'll meet up and see all you guys. That's what our company, by the way, if you're just joining us and you're new to our group and you don't know anything about us, I saw one or two new names on there I haven't seen tonight. Our group is not just about training. We do train people. We are huge advocates of getting firearm training and preparedness training and medical training. But the main objective of our group is to build that community, is to get people of like mind together that can help each other out in times of need. We call it a mutual assistance group. And we are located in the foothills of North Carolina. If you are around this region close enough to be involved, we'd love for you to reach out and get involved with us. And we can, you can have all these conversations, especially the ones that Rev and I are talking about now. They get really deep whenever we get live and in person. However, it would be really quickly kicked off the YouTube or flagged or banned, whatever, if we said what we wanted to say at this point. That's the thing. Rev is like, on these platforms, we're very much censored already, and we're getting to the point where it's really hard to say and have your First Amendment rights at this point. So we better start meeting in person. You better start making an effort. You can't be online forever. Online doesn't have your back in person. When Rev needs somebody to come down to Charlotte to help him out, he needs to be able to call someone that's close by. Same for us. We need to be able to have people that are close by. I saw Tilden catch up on here a little while ago. Tilden, you need to be more involved, brother. You're close to my house. I need guys that are closer up here. If you're in the between Asheville and Charlotte, you're very much important to our group, and we'd love to have you out to train. Yeah. And also to get involved. It doesn't have to be all about the training. It is important to us, and it's what we built our company on. But in reality, there's a bigger picture to that. And we can't wait to meet up with all you guys next Saturday, Brian. We're looking forward to it, man. Even though we're bringing our savages, so look out. It's going to be crazy.
Oh, I'm excited about that. And I have some advice to ask you guys for that pertains to all this. So I'm looking forward to that conversation as well. I'd love to get some objective perspectives, when it comes to some of what's going on and some of the future things that are going on as well. But when we were talking a moment ago about kind of friends getting started and buy once, cry once kind of stuff, that never really stops. Like, there are a bunch of things right now for me that I'm like trying to order the importance of. Like, I'm not sure what's next for me, and I'm trying to figure that out. I tend to lean into the gun side of things because I can rationalize that, because I can make some kind of small income and I'm interested in it. But
sure,
if I'm not careful, I'll be imbalanced in that category and leave too many other really important preparations.
You know what it sounds like, Brian? It sounds like
your conundrum is right. Your conundrum is exactly where Patrick is. Every single day.
It sounds like you need to attend our Prepping 101 class there, Brian. That's the next class in your future, it sounds like, for us.
Right.
Because we definitely go over all of this and how to put things in order of importance. And that's one reason why I try not to get super wrapped up in the Gucci gear and the stuff like that. And, I'm all for buying quality stuff one time. Don't hear me wrong. Like, sure. I'd much rather have you buy, especially if you're one guy. If you're one guy prepping for yourself, you have no excuse. Buy the good stuff one time, be done with it. However, most of the people that we deal with are family people. Like, they're trying to buy security and let's just say, okay, you're looking at buying a long arm or a rifle for each of your family members. How big is your family, Brian? You don't have to tell me that. You don't have to tell me the exact answer to that.
I'm just saying,
4 to 5 people.
I do want to say that as somebody who has other people under their wing, so to speak, that there are people that I consider family that I would like to convince to be a part of this. But the reality is I'm kind of stacking stuff for them until they're convinced,
I agree. And we do the same thing, Rev. Like that's definitely something we look into, is trying to make not just ourselves prepared, but others that we plan on having under our wings prepared as well. And we have a whole group of people that we're looking out for. So I have to, whenever I'm making recommendations for people, I have to make that recommendation based on the fact that this person's probably not buying just for themselves. They're probably buying for them, their wife, their kids. They're probably buying for grandma that lives next door, that they're going to come and that's going to be part of their group. And all these people are going to end up helping each other and helping me. So it has to be a quality product that I recommend. But it also has to be cheap enough that it doesn't break their bank. Or here's another thing that I see commonly is I'll have somebody spend $5,000 in guns and they got nothing put back for food storage. You can't do that. In the whole grand scheme of prepping, you have a whole bunch of security. And here's my thing right now. If you're one of those people that you're saying, well, if I've got guns, I don't need all the other stuff because I'm going to come take yours.
Yeah, no.
This is not the group for you. You need to go somewhere else. That's not our mindset. That's not our ethos. It's not our ethics. That's not how we run. Like, I want to be able to help people when time comes. Sure, we're going to all have hard decisions. And that's one of the problems that I have. Believe it or not, I am a Christian, and believe it or not, I do believe in the Bible, and I believe in Jesus, and I believe in being good to thy neighbor, and I believe in helping others, especially when
you say that like we'd be surprised, brother. We all see the halo over your head, man.
I would never say I'm the best example as a Christian, so don't hold me to that. But let's just say, I believe in all those things, and I think it's very difficult, especially in the times that I see coming. We're all going to have to make very difficult decisions. And I think the things change very drastically whenever you have to make the decision of, do I take this meal and give it to this family when I'm also taking that meal out of my family's, storage, and my kids may not eat next week if I'm giving this away to someone else. That's the problem and the conundrum. That's the hard part for most preppers and most prepared-minded individuals that they come from. There's this whole ethical side where we want to help other people. We want to be more involved. We want to help the community. But I'm so willing right now to give as much advice as I can, to give as much, any experience I have, I'm willing to offer that to other people and give them what I can. But in the same sense, I see so many people that are just, they're not awake. They're not there. They're not paying attention. They're not seeing what's coming. And how can I be a good Christian and be able to turn them away when the time comes? Because I feel like we're going to have times that are coming that are rough. The Bible speaks of it. If you believe in that, it says that the end days will be tough. And I see all the signs of that being true. So, I don't know, man. Like, I feel like it's going to be very tough in the end of time to make those hard decisions and keep those that you care about the most safe, as well as it's kind of like the conundrum you're talking about, where you want to be inviting, and most of us are that type of person where you invite that person in, whereas all our training says do not invite others in. You are asking for trouble when you invite them into your space. When you invite that person who's, they may have good intentions, or they may only be asking for food, or they may only be in, this section of life where they really need help. But you can't know that. And with your family there, it's really hard to make that decision. So I tell people to make only planned, try to do things that you can plan safely to help others. But that can be wrong as well. That, like, sometimes that person really did need your help. And I do feel like God will help you, and God will help guide you whenever you're in that area, to do the right thing. But all of our training and all of our things will tell you not to do that thing,
And I, just to be sure to make clear that what I do is not prescriptive for others. You understand this. I think you were in law enforcement.
Sure.
You put in ministry. There are things that I'm called to go do that are intentionally putting myself in harm's way to go help somebody. I'm not leading people to go into all those same situations. That's not what I'm saying. And I want to be careful that that's not a prescription. There are certain things that I'm supposed to do that I would not advise other people to do.
Well, it's absolutely the same as law enforcement, right?
Yeah.
Like there's time, like they don't have a choice in the matter. They have to go, make contact with that person. Whereas a civilian, it's the worst possible, probably tactical move you can make.
Sure. Yeah. And there are times when for law enforcement, you might go and be a de-escalation presence because of a relationship that exists that they don't tell you to do it, but they make you aware of it because of your relationship. And I've been able to see a number of times where something didn't pop off that would have if law enforcement had to go in. But because of an existing relationship that I've had in communities, you can go in and sit and be a peacemaker in the middle of those situations. I wouldn't tell somebody else to go, but I believe God told me to, and
sure.
And so that's a unique situation, and you shouldn't follow me in that. You should follow God if he calls you to.
9:35, gentlemen. 9:35.
Wow, that was the fastest hour I think we've ever had. Lots of people on tonight made it a very fast conversation.
So we'll go ahead and wrap up. Anybody have any closing remarks? Let me just check to make sure there aren't any questions. Not a whole lot. Richard Elb just ended. He said on the topic of social media, when Google/Apple/Facebook expanded their support to staff to other countries, attacks on pro-USA and gun channels started. So, and that's about the last comment we've had for a while. So,
well, hey, that's how you know you're having a good live stream, though, when the comments stop. People are listening. People want to hear what Brian is saying. People want to hear, good advice.
It's all you,
so
man.
I think it's good. No, I don't think it's just me.
We'll have to put Brian on the rotation here, maybe.
Are they all there?
Man.
I mean, or did they all leave when I started talking?
Well, there's a bunch of them still on. It's just that I think they actually started listening versus typing now, and that's the mark of a good live stream. So that's a good thing.
Yeah, we've had a few check out, but we'll go ahead and wrap this stuff out. Let me get back to where I need to be here, guys. And if you guys want any closing comments, and then I'll go ahead and end the live here. So anybody? Bueller? No, we're good. So we're going to end the live stream, but the Zoom will stay up for back chatter here. So everybody, thanks for watching the live stream tonight and hanging with us. If you guys are watching it back and you enjoyed the tonight's live stream, make sure you're subscribing to us, liking stuff, sharing stuff. Rev's got his own channel at Rev2 Da Limit on YouTube. So if you want to check him out, so it's REV2, 2 is in the number 2, DA Limit. And so
it's my rapper name.
That's right. Mic check. 1 2 1 2. So we appreciate Brian and his awesome product placement over his shoulder there on his rig. We appreciate other side. Yeah, baby.
Hey, thank you for letting me hang out with you guys. You guys are the cool kids, and I don't get a chance to hang out with the cool kids very often. I'm normally at the nerd table, so thanks, guys.
Well, we've got your phone number, so you're going to be wishing we didn't here in a little while. So
we always enjoy having the Rev on. It's always an interesting conversation that also tends to find itself very deep in the ethics and very deep in the very hard conversation, which I enjoy because a lot of people want to run from that. And I think it's the most important thing we can talk about. Also, we appreciate Ron coming out tonight, man. We appreciate the chief medical officer in the building. Thank you for showing up, man. We appreciate it.
He's not delivering babies and stabbing people, so he's got the night off.
Ron's a super busy dude. We appreciate you being on tonight. I know it's been a crazy night, but it's been fun, man. We enjoyed it.
Jay Gage will catch you Saturday morning, bright and early, for some prepared Rifleman 1, and then he's backing it up for comprehensive carry. Dogfight. Anyway.